On this episode of We're No Damn Experts, Rebecca and Madi have a guest on the podcast that is featured in the new urban art installation downtown.
Best damn podcast, the best damn town. You wanna get up, get ready to get down. With its big wide sky and the wild river Thames. If you wanna go, we can take you there. To Great Falls, Montana.
Welcome to the greatest damn town in Montana, Great Falls. I'm your co-host, Rebecca Ingham.
And I'm your other co-host, Madi Hazard.
And together, we are no damn experts.
That was a new introduction.
Yeah.
This is going to be a new podcast because we have a guest in the studio today, a debuting artist.
Ooh.
And someone that can prove that the world is small. So please welcome to the podcast a Great Falls champion, Amber Litzinger.
Hi.
She's here with us.
Yes, thank you guys so much for having me.
So
Thanks for being here, Amber.
So I say that Amber can prove that the world is small because last year or the year before, I shared one of our users or followers' photo on Instagram, and it was Amber's photo. I share it, tag her, and she's the awesome person that she is. She's like, oh, I should go meet these people at tourism.
Yes.
And she brings us donuts.
Yeah.
And she's like,
That's right.
hey, I'm also a realtor. We get to talking. She's like, oh, I moved here from California. I'm originally from Great Falls, but I lived in California for a while. I'm coming back. We're talking about how expensive it is there. She's like, where do you live? And I tell her the street. Then I'm mentioning my neighbor. Oh, my neighbor has 8 kids. And she's like, is your neighbor Michelle? And I was like,
Literally a very dear friend.
yeah.
And I went, are you kidding?
Yeah.
You lived across the street from her? What?
Yeah, so that's how we connected. And now I follow her on Instagram, and you are always out and about in Great Falls, like promoting everything to do in this community. You're a little influencer, and you don't even know it.
That's
Or
funny.
maybe you do know it and you're trying to monetize everything.
No.
Those are good options.
I should
I'm gonna offer a
probably
class.
figure that part out. Haven't quite figured that part out, but I am so happy to be back in Great Falls. Like Marty said, I grew up here, and life just took me to other places. And so when we ended up coming back here, it was such a cool thing. So surreal to have my boys going to the same school I went to for high school.
Oh, yeah.
Like kind of blows my mind. Absolutely love going to games and being a part of that. And it's awesome to be back.
So was Great Falls as cool as it is now when you grew up here, or are you now aware of how cool it is?
Well, I was never one of those people in high school that was like, I cannot wait to get out of here. It just was how my life happened. So I've always absolutely loved it. I love the community. I've always loved that. I know there was, even while I was gone, there was some stages where people were like, I don't know. And I am so, I guess, what's the right word? Like, inspired by what I see in the community and what people are bringing and the vision that, city planners and business people have for it and what's coming. It makes me so excited.
Well, I mean, every city goes through like ups and downs. And now we're like on that, hey, we're on this up again where so much is coming into play and all this exciting news.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you ever listen to our podcast episode where we had a person who wrote in, resident of Great Falls, lives in Texas, talking to her sister in like North Carolina, and was like throwing their mom under the bus of saying, all these years, my mom's always wanted us to do these things. And I told her, no, this is gross. We're not doing that. And then she started listening to the podcast and she's like, I learned so much about my hometown. I'm so excited now to go back and actually say, sorry, we were so mean to you, Mom. Sounds like the things you wanted to do are pretty fun.
I did not hear that podcast.
She's like, who knew we were in such a cool community? I'm like, we are. So one of the cool things is the Urban Art Project.
Yes.
And Rebecca has always said, like, hey, we're a town full of art, and I'm going to tell you some places to see it, not only murals, but installation art. We had Courtney on her podcast last year to talk about it, but we're now bringing in an artist that is going to be featured in the next installation.
Yes.
Amber is going to have her own piece in it. So
I am.
we have to, congratulations.
Yes,
you.
that's awesome. Is
Thank
this
you.
going to be your first installation style piece?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Have you previewed the space in the window? Have you crawled in there yet? I heard it's not very big.
Well, it's not. It was funny when they send you the diagrams. I was like, oh my gosh, that's huge. And then when I started filling it, I went, okay, it's not bad. So it's up. It's officially up. The
Okay.
installation runs from the 5th of February, so last week, until sometime in
Is
the
it-
coming month. I can't
Because it's
remember.
like every 4 months,
Yeah,
June.
it's like a quarterly
May
thing.
5th.
Okay, May 5th.
So,
Okay.
it was really cool, and I'm very overwhelmed and really excited about it. So.
Well, how did you apply?
Yeah, how did you get the gig?
Well, I
Because you're not an artist official. I mean, I know you're artistic.
right.
I know you do
Yep.
photography. You create, like, she's a realtor, flips homes, does design. So you have that
Absolutely.
artistic touch.
So I got asked to be a part of it by Courtney Harrent, who
Okay.
is the director of the Urban Art Project. And I believe that probably happened because my son is an artist and he's an AP art at Great Falls High. And
Okay.
So Courtney's his
Search
teacher. And we've talked multiple times at different things. He has his art in March. He'll have his art in 3 shows around the state.
Holy moly.
I know. He's amazing. So I, like you said, have always created. And I told her that. I said, I've actually just started like honing that and really like focusing in a direction. And so all of a sudden she goes, would you like to put art in this? And I went, okay, sure.
Ooh.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen it. I was under the whatever. I
You
thought
don't know everything?
No, I thought I
We're
was
no
going to be
damn
able.
experts here.
Yeah, I thought we were going to be able to see it this Thursday because that's when the street side reception is
Yep.
starting at 4 p.m.
Oh.
And then you can meet and greet the artists at Kellergeist across the street afterward.
Yes.
So I thought that's when it's going to be debuted. But it's up there. So what is
Yep.
it? What
Tell
So-
us,
how
tell
did
us
you?
the inspiration. What's in there?
Okay, so my window, each of the windows is a different artist, and which is I think so cool because you can see different personalities and creation there. Mine is I titled it Montana Textures.
Okay.
What I love to do is, Aristotle quoted, or I quoted Aristotle. Sorry, let me say that one more time. In my artist statement, I quoted Aristotle, and he said that art takes nature as its model. And so living in Montana, that's really easy to see.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
I mean, our
It's everywhere.
sunsets lately are ridiculous.
I know we could have an episode on the sunsets alone.
No kidding.
Sunrises. Goodness.
I want to sit on this hill and do like a picnic every night of the summer
Yes.
just to watch sunsets.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
anyhow. So with that being said, I also have a huge passion for home and creating home and making our homes comfortable and welcoming for people. And so I started putting the colors and the ideas and the vision that I see out in our nature all around us into things that could fill our homes and make them more comforting and welcoming and stuff like that.
Oh.
Yeah. So I create wall hangings. So in the display, there is one really large wall hanging, a smaller one. I did 2 different installations today, with this one that are on wood. There's 4 pieces of wood that have a different piece of the picture on them. I did a rock. I painted a rock, and I painted that one as like a sunset.
Oh.
And then I made 2 pillows, throw pillows. And those ones are named actually Black Eagle Dam and Rainbow Dam. And
Ooh.
yep, to represent both of those. So
Oh, so are you going to use the art in the installation when it's done?
I will. The pillows, I actually had put them on my couch right after I got them all put together before I had put them in the installation. And my husband came home and he was like, oh, those are awesome. I really like those. And I went, I know, they're pretty cool. I've actually sold some of my art too. So they're available for purchase if needed. I've done some commission work. And so,
Wow. You're a full-fledged artist.
So I didn't know that. So you are a full-fledged.
Well, yes.
Yeah. Just own it. Yes, I am.
I mean, from what I've seen, so I saw on your story on Instagram last week, the week before, those two neutral taupe color. What did those become? You were painting something.
Okay, so those were, I believe, those are the wood pieces. And so those ones drew their inspiration from trees in the spring.
Okay.
And each of the squares, there's 4 of them.
Okay.
And they're hanging from a piece of wood. A branch, and then they kind of each have a different viewpoint of that. So
what does your husband think about all this? Does he have any artistic? Because
he has a lot of artistic. He would not say it is artistic, but we also, like you mentioned, we do flip houses, and there's so many times where I will come to him and go, hey, what about this type of door? What about trying to figure out and make homes work for us. And he comes up with an idea every time.
Okay.
He's brilliant. His artistic. So he would not say he's like traditionally artistic.
But he's a creative mindset,
so
problem
much
solver.
so.
Okay.
And how he feels about my art is that it completely takes over our house. And he really wishes I had my own space for it.
Well, perfect. No, you just need a little shed that you can create your art in.
Isn't that what Nancy said to Charlie Russell? Like, hey, honey, get the heck out of the house, build a studio.
And he did.
Just do that.
Trust me, I actually have a dream to make a space where other artists who have similar, restrictions on them of space might be able to just come and create. And so
do like a
maybe
co-op where you've got all this equipment and it's like a co-work space, but for creative artists.
Oh, I've written out a business plan and everything. I just got to find a space.
I'm just going to nerd out about this. This is amazing.
That's cool. Okay.
So someday in the future, maybe. We'll see.
And then would your son be one of the artists, or is he?
Yes.
Artist in residence?
Yes.
Do you guys compete?
No.
He's not upset that he's
No.
darn it, Mom.
No, his style is so cool. He does kind of a comic book style. He wants to go to school for illustration, concept art, and he does it. I have never ever thought that comic book style was pretty or emotive at all. And I saw his AP. He's taken AP 2 years in a row. I saw his AP art last year, and I was blown away, completely blown away. So, but if I ask him to do something for me, he's like, no, I don't want to do it.
No.
Typical.
Yeah. My husband's the same way. He is fantastic he can just sketch something out with a pencil. He's really good at it. And we have a few pieces of his art from like when he was in high school. And my dad for years has said, hey, why don't you make me something? That would be like the coolest gift. He's like, I'm not very good. And then he'd always tell me this other girl he went to school with was better. And I'm like, I don't know who this other school.
Care about her.
You're good. Just do your thing.
It's so hard. I think it's really hard as an artist to get out of your own head of the comparison and allow yourself to just create. And I was so excited when we moved back here. That was actually one of my goals moving back up here, was to start allowing myself to do that without the worry that it doesn't look like
this person.
So-and-so's. It doesn't look like this. And maybe it won't fit everything. That's okay. I just had to start doing it. So
do you think the artists feel like that at Western Art Week when they're like at the booths? Because there was this artist that came out of, I don't know what city he came in, but it was his first Western Art Week last year.
Oh.
And it was this graphic comic, almost, it was a completely different style of art, but it was Western subjects. And then like right next door to him is traditional Western art.
He's probably sitting there going, what am I doing here?
And I don't know if the other guy's like, am I too old to be here? Like, I wonder what they're thinking in their head.
You know what? I assume other people maybe have a little bit more confidence in me. So at one point, or maybe at one point, I'm going to get there and be like, yep, I'm okay. However, I think it's just human nature to at certain points. But that's can be a really good thing too, because it challenges you to try new things, to push boundaries, to incorporate, to work together, all of that.
Collaborate, build
That's
off
the
of
word.
each other.
I couldn't think of the word. That's the one.
Do you?
I'm here for you.
Thank you.
Give you words. That's my role.
I'm gonna drill you through some questions or run you through
Okay.
some questions now.
All right.
Just you're out and about and you're doing tons of things. Do you have a favorite museum?
Oh,
Oh,
Because I know you've been to a lot of them.
okay. So my favorite is the Paris Gibson Square because it's just so easy to access, and you
Okay.
can just take like a 20-minute little wander and have a little bit of art right there, and you're like, okay, good. But I want to spend more time at the Russell.
Okay, yeah.
I am
Yeah.
so excited. Last year, it did not work out for us to do Western Art Week or even attend any of them. So I'm like, this year it is happening. I'm wearing a dress, like I'm dressing up. It's going to be a big deal
It's
for
gonna
me.
be fun.
I don't know if anybody else dresses up. I
No.
normally overdress, but that's okay.
No, you're not.
no.
Overdressed. No,
There's
not at
all kinds.
There always is in Montana.
There'll be somebody in gym shorts and sneakers and flip flops, and there'll be another person in $1 million gown.
And the
my
person in
goodness.
flip flops just bought $60,000 worth of art.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
So
Yeah.
it's absolutely wonderful, amazing. So the
Please,
square
what's up?
being your favorite museum, do you have any favorite artwork that is at the square? I know they have galleries that change out, but they do have some art that is constant.
Permanent installations.
So if we're going by permanent installations, I think my favorite would be, I can't remember what it's called, but it's these pillars. And he used old packaging from all sorts of different trash, and he kind of was using it as a play of like one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Oh.
But you can also see packaging from like years ago. And it was so, they're just, I think there's 5 or 6 pillars, and they're probably 10 feet tall, and it's super cool to walk around them. And he put them all on and then kind of sanded them off so they're not evident what they are. So it's really cool to pick through and go, oh, look at that's a like
Campbell's-
a 7-Up box or a Campbell's soup, wrapper from when I was a kid. I really like that one. And then if we're going by the installations that change out, again, I'm not very good at the names of them.
It's okay.
But when you walk in right now, they have these crocheted
Oh,
the
fiber
red.
art.
The the red ones.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I knew that name a few months ago. And then I was just on the Square's website this weekend looking at their upcoming events.
Right.
And I read the name. But people, it's this beautiful yarn.
It's textile art.
And it's
Yeah.
hanging from the ceiling, and it's stretched
It's
across,
large
and-
format too.
Oh, it was like I walked in and just went, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So
It's gorgeous. So do you have any feelings about Lee Steen's exhibit?
is that the stick people?
figure? Yeah.
I liked it.
Okay. I'm scared.
Are you? My boys did not like it.
Okay.
No.
Now, how your
No.
youngest, did he have a reaction?
He
of-
was so little when we took him.
Okay.
Like he did not have a reaction.
Okay.
My teenagers were both kind of like,
no, thank
that's
you.
a little creepy. And I said, why? I think it's kind of like kitschy and cute. And
Yeah.
So, but
I'm going to take my mom there later today. She hasn't been, but she's a fan of Stephen King, so I bet she's going to love it.
She's gonna love it.
Oh
She's
my
gonna be like, I
gosh.
could make this my bedroom. Like, she has that kind of level of comfort with
that's
scary.
funny. I don't know if I'd
items.
go that far.
Okay.
I loved it. I tell this story often. We did yoga in that studio one time,
Okay,
and it
I've
was
heard
the
that this happened.
funnest. The funnest moment of my life was to do yoga in the Lee Steen exhibit.
Did you do forms that matched any of the figures?
Well, I did.
I don't think you're supposed to.
No, was not being led in that direction, but Michelle said I was doing great, and I just laughed. I'm like, no, I'm not. There's no way I'm doing good.
She's a perfect teacher, always complimenting questions, always complimenting progress. You're doing great. That's a great question. No, it's not. If you were to have someone come from out of town, what would be 3 things that you would have to include on their itinerary?
Ooh.
And they can be seasonally based. Like you can say if it was spring or summer, you can put some conditions on it. But What do you want someone who's new to Great Falls to know about that we have here?
Oh man, that is tough. I'm actually like pondering this right now because we
Okay.
have friends coming up in the summer.
Okay.
So I'm
How
like,
long are they going to be here?
Well, they're going to be here over July 4th weekend. So we're already going to be having like the Hootenanny, which last year was my first year experiencing that.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That was my first year too.
like
yeah.
the coolest thing. I just laughed. My husband and I laughed. We helped volunteer for it. And I was like, where else do they do this? Do they do this in other places? I don't think they do. And if they do, they shouldn't, because it should only be done here because it's amazing.
Yeah.
And so definitely that. I would love to do a bike ride, like the whole River's Edge Trail with them.
Okay.
Oh.
Just because I love being
Right.
able to get outside and see that. You also have the art on the West Bank, which is so fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Those installation pieces or environmental art pieces.
Yes. And then, man.
Do you take people to the sip and dip?
Well,
Did you, listeners, did you hear that?
I hope you did.
okay.
That was awesome.
Okay, so I grew up here and I'd always heard about the sip and dip. And I was like, what? I don't even know if there were mermaids at the time when I was growing up for a season, you know? And so when we moved back here, I had gone a couple times, never saw the mermaids. And I recently got to go. And we walked in and I probably had the exact same reaction I just had when I turned and I looked and I'm like, there's a mermaid. I'm like, I know that they're there. So that is definitely a fun one. I think that would probably be one I'd have to put on there.
Well, your folks are coming to visit, and you should take them back to the Sip and Dip Friday or Saturday so they
So
can
they
listen to
meet
Joel
Joel.
Corda.
Yes.
Because we got new music at the Sip and Dip.
Yes,
So-
exactly.
They went. My parents are in their, I won't date them, but
Older.
they're older. They're in their 60s. Okay. But they're fun, active people going out, doing things. We brought them to the Sip and Dip 2 years ago, I think. And it was a night where there was a particularly younger crowd. I
Oh.
think I was even older. My parents are like, what the heck are we doing here? I don't want a fishbowl. Where's my beer? Like, I'm like, we're going to Calgary's next. Don't worry.
Right.
So maybe if I take them on a Friday or Saturday and Joel's there playing, they'll have
Yes.
a different, better experience.
Well, and even if that's like the starting point maybe of your evening, because it's almost something that you kind of have to see in person
yeah.
Yeah.
to be like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
this is super cool.
Mermaids.
And then you can move on down the road to maybe like Kellergeist or I really love Elevation being up there. I just think
Yeah.
the atmosphere up there is so fun. So that would be one I would probably hang out at too.
They love Kellergeist. They haven't been to Elevation yet, but they are going to go to Quiet Riot this weekend with us at the Newberry.
Yay.
That's the reason they're here. So
Really? That's awesome.
yeah, they're here for the concert.
Aren't we all?
Well, like I shared the concert announcement on Facebook, and then when I went home for the holidays, my dad said, I don't know where I saw this or where they're going to be, but I think Quiet Riot is going somewhere. I'm like, me, Papa. I shared it. They're coming to Great Falls. It's like, really? I'm like, let's go. Like, I'll buy tickets right
Yay.
now. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, they're here for that. We're going to take them to Swift Dam.
Oh.
I do have some questions.
Oh,
We talked about Swift Dam on our podcast episode that we recorded yesterday that aired last week for the people listening to this episode now. Inception. But they want to go see the water. They want to see the mountains. I showed them Rebecca's
Yay.
pictures.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what's really cool, Rebecca? When you Google Swift Dam, Montana, the side panel, the sidebar that shows the picture and the information, it's your photo.
hey, look at you.
I'm
I was like,
famous.
that's
I'm
a
a
pretty-
big deal.
That's a pretty cool photo.
No kidding.
And my mom's like, is that your photo? I'm like, kind of. Like, I edited it because I'm like, look at this. And he's like, how is that your photo? Have you been there? My husband's like, you went to this place without me? I'm like, no, I haven't.
right.
But we're going to go, take him to Swift Dam.
Good.
That's going to be awesome.
And we're going to take him to Harvest Craft Kitchen for breakfast because
Yay. Yes.
they love their lunch. So I hope you
Yes.
take other people there. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love the breakfast places, the coffee shops that we have that they definitely were not around when I was here before. And whenever we travel somewhere, that's kind of how we center ourselves, is we figure out the local coffee shops and the local restaurants, and we start there and, build from there. So it's so cool that we have those happening here in Great Falls too.
Oh, yeah. And you're involved. You said you volunteered for the Hootenanny. What other police spaces do you have your hands in?
Yeah. You guys make me sound like some kind of I don't know, puppet master or something.
Well, I mean, that's what we find though, is people who just fall in love with the community or are part of the community, and they champion these efforts. They end up in all these different efforts, and it's just, when we interviewed Courtney, it started here, and it just and I'm a part of this, and I'm a part of this. I'm like, okay, let's talk about that. It's just so much fun.
Well, that's true. I saw you at Business After Hours at the Celtic Cowboy last week, but I know you also go to Nourish Kitchen. There are lessons a lot, and you're just always out doing something. So
I try to. I also have 3 boys, so sometimes I love to promote people too. So even if I can't make it, I'm trying to. But I am part of the MOPS group here in Great Falls. And so moms of preschoolers, I have a 2.5-year-old.
Oh, wow.
Which obviously keeps you busy. But I also have 2 teenage boys. So when you have now a 2.5-year-old and you've kind of forgotten how to do that, you go, oh, how do I do that again? And who's doing that? And how do I meet them? So I joined the MOPS group, and I am actually co-coordinators with Lindsay, who is the owner of Nourish.
Okay.
And so I love her and all that she's doing down there. And then I am a chamber member with our real estate. Both my husband and I are realtors, and we're part of the chamber. And so we try to, get involved in all of that. Trying to think of some others. I have started a group where I meet with gals, try to meet with them once a month, of just gals who are working within our community, doing big things. When you start out in business, they say get into networking groups and meet people, and which is obviously the way to do it always. But a lot of those networking groups were also then saying, okay, be involved in this. And there's volunteer opportunities, which are so needed. But I wanted to have a place where I could talk honestly about my struggles as a mom, a working woman, and raising kids, and kind of balance that without it turning into, a complaining thing.
Right.
And not having anybody fix my problems, because I don't need anybody to fix the problems. I just need
sounding board.
A sounding board, exactly. So I started meeting with some of those gals, and man.
So you're busy. How the heck do you get on the River's Edge Trail then? How are you going to have your sunset picnics at Warden Park
if you make the time?
Yes, you do. You have to.
You can host them there.
I think that would be amazing. The more the merrier.
Okay, there we go.
There you go.
We got ideas for you.
Uh-oh. What else am I going to be involved
in? No, I'm going to bring it back to the Urban Art Project.
Yes.
Do you know any of the other artists there? Are there any other first-time debuters for this type of art?
You know what? I am not sure. I know that there's some that have done it before.
Okay.
For sure. I am not sure if there's any other debut arts. And as I was walking past them and looking at them, I'm really excited to meet these people, because this is something, art is near and dear to my heart, even though I've just started kind of exercising that part of myself. And so I definitely want to be involved in that community here in Great Falls, and who those people are, and know what's going on with that. So,
all right, we are going to do some content later this week, or maybe I am, about tips on how to enjoy an art show, because we're going to send it out to people who might be interested in attending Western Art Week. So we have some 7 tips to share with people. I'm not going to tell you them yet.
Darn it. I was like, Jay,
as an artist, do you have any pointers for people that are like Rebecca and I, where we don't have installations installed, we haven't sold our art?
Yeah.
What should we do?
How to be kind to an artist.
What are some nice things that we should do, or maybe
not do?
I would think, and I like this just as a person too, asking if you're able to figure out what they're seeing. So like when they give a synopsis, a statement about what their art is saying, or ask questions to help explain that or to understand that better. Have them explain that if you have the opportunity to talk to them, because we all see things so differently.
Yeah.
And a lot of times there can be a lot of depth, but their art can be really simple, or, it could be, in my opinion, of like what I see aesthetically, it might be ugly, but they might have a viewpoint of why it looks that way.
Okay.
I'm not saying that art is ugly. It's not ugly, but
It's okay. Some art's meant to be ugly.
Some
Right,
art
exactly,
just, you look at
exactly.
it, and as you go through your own personal filters, you're looking at it going, what
the heck?
Right.
What was the inspiration for this?
Well, and I think it's also okay as a viewer to not get it.
Yeah.
Just to maybe remove a pressure to feel like, okay, is there a really deep meaning here and I'm missing it? No, it's okay. Just move on to one that you like.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a painting of a cow.
Yep. There you
That's
go.
it.
Amazing.
Yep.
Just like the cow.
Okay.
Exactly.
But I've had that same reaction. Like, my husband took this great picture of a cow, an actual cow.
I love it.
He was out hunting, and the cow came up to him and was like, "Hey, what are you just doing laying in my field?" And he's got this great picture of it's just the head of a cow, and I'm like, I love that picture. He's like,
Yes.
"It's just a cow," and I'm like,
But
No.
I just love
cow.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So funny that you would pick that as the option.
So what else should I not do? Or
do.
do.
I don't know. That's a tough question. I think that art is so interesting because it can be how you receive it can be based on like what you're going through that day.
Okay.
And so it can change so much. And I think I tend to be very free and like allow the moment to be the moment,
Okay.
whatever it is, whether it's awkward or not. And so, I mean,
I create a lot of
I
those
think
awkward
we all
moments.
try really hard to make life not awkward. And I think life is just awkward sometimes. So,
Yeah.
or I am at least.
Have you ever had someone insult your art, but they didn't mean to? It was just the way they said it.
No,
And then,
but I had somebody insult my cooking one time that way.
okay.
And I was really
Like-
offended.
Because I'm assuming I insult a lot of people. And I'm sure I can insult an artist during Western Art Week if I didn't know. But I want them to be able to tell me, like, hey, instead of saying this next time to the guy in the booth next door, phrase it this way. Like, I
There
didn't
you
know
go.
if there's some common phrases, because I guess performance, concert, event, and show, sometimes I can say they're all the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
They're not.
Right. Right.
So I don't want to use a word where I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to the show. It's a performance, or it's not a concert. It is.
Well, we met with a muralist yesterday,
Oh, awesome.
artist.
Yes.
And both of us are working through how to say certain things. Like, we don't know what kind of medium you use. And
she's like, you're naming math terms now. I'm like, what kind of
well,
stuff?
do you want to use oil and rocks and wood and water? We'd take it all. And she's like, oh, okay.
But no, don't do that.
And then we'd sit down and we're trying to talk about this beautiful piece of art she's done. And we're
Yes.
talking the texture, the depth, the
stroke.
shapes.
There you go. There you
And
go.
she's like, it's okay. Just keep going. And I'm
yes.
like,
Yes.
I'm like, is that segment? And she's like, I've never heard it described that way before. I'm like, because that's the wrong way to describe it. So I didn't know if there's any words that I'm not supposed to say to an artist. And they're so nice. Some people are so nice. They're like, oh yeah, I've never heard it described that way. Can't you just say, what are you saying? Like, it's not a puzzle. Like, no, it's a painting.
Right, right.
We didn't do it that way.
Oh, I guess I could see that. I think you would probably be safe with saying something like, I appreciate your effort. Okay, maybe you shouldn't say that. See, I told you I'm pretty awkward.
no.
I'm not sure I should be the one answering this question.
If I said that,
I say that all the time to Monty. I really appreciate your effort.
but we're going to start over.
Okay, wait. Erase that one. Maybe that's not a good one. How would we say that? See,
Okay, I just didn't know if there's any hot words I should avoid.
not that
Like,
I know
okay.
of. No.
Okay, because we We can insult a few. We've had some other guests that have criticized others. They're not nice.
Oh, no.
I'm not saying they're mean. They're just honest,
but
direct.
it is nice. We usually start every conversation with Art about we're going to say a lot of wrong things, and we don't know the right terminology for anything.
And we don't want to insult anyone.
Sorry.
No.
Okay.
So we're going to let it roll.
I know. Maybe that's hard for me because I tend to be that way too. I'm pretty honest but also generous, and I think that all art is beautiful because somebody put their heart into it. So I'm like, okay, then that's all there is to it.
We bought a piece of art that we liked for the first time for our home last year during Western Art Week. And we're looking through the booths at Western Art Week, and we're seeing fairly small ones. I'm seeing like a size of paper that or smaller.
Right.
And they're ranging from $200 to $1,000. Mm-hmm. They're in that range because there's tons of detail, time, effort. You know the gist. We walk to a different booth, and there's a fairly large piece.
Yeah.
I want to say at least 2 feet, maybe 30 inches, landscape. Mm-hmm. Stunning.
Yes.
And I'll say, I don't care. It's like $600.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is this one $600?
Why is this so cheap?
Why is this so cheap?
Right.
So I go to the artist and I'm like, why the heck is this one only $600? Like, this isn't match. One thing's not like the other.
Right.
But my reaction was kind of like, what the heck? Why is this one? Something wrong with it, Thankfully, he explained to me it was G clay.
Yes.
And that's a print. Mm-hmm. And then he does some technique over it to make it look like real. And I'm like, sold. Well, because he says, the original painting was much larger than this and sold at the Russell auction for
this.
Oh, geez. Yeah, no kidding.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
Now I
the
get it.
$600 version is good for me.
Yes.
I'm still supporting you, and I still have something pretty. So,
exactly.
But I initially probably rubbed him the wrong way. And he's like, I'm going to want a picture of it when you hang it in your house.
Yes.
Like, where are you going to put this? I'm like, we're renovating right now. So I'm not sure.
So do you have it on the wall yet?
I do, but I don't want to send him a picture because we're renovating. Uh-huh. And Mark had it on the wall. And then one weekend I'm like, Mark, I want this wall gone. And so from the other side of the wall, he was cutting jigsaw and he nicked the frame. So the frame fell. The art's intact.
Of course.
Frame has a little bit of nicks. I just need to take it to a shop.
Sure.
Yeah, it's only going to cost a few $100 fixed. So that's fine. Whatever.
Minor
detail.
Oh, those home things. I get that.
Yeah.
Totally.
But hey, it's still displayed. Mm-hmm. And I'm so excited for Western Art Week, which is next month, March 16th through the 20th. We have 16 shows, over 600 artists.
That's crazy.
And all of the daily events listed at westernartweek.com. Yeah. So, Amber, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast today, talking with us not only about your upcoming art installation for the Urban Art Project. The reception was just February 17th, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And it is going to be a meet and greet across the street from Keller Geist. But by the time this airs, it's already said and done. But Amber's
so you don't get to do it.
Yeah. So Amber's art's going to be available until May 5th. If you want to know where to find it, check out our show notes. We'reNoDamnExperts.com. I'll give you information about Amber's art and everywhere else you can find out in this town.
Yep.
Art in this town. Sorry, guys. I've just been excited about talking today.
The words are coming so quickly you can't get them out in time.
If you want to call me and talk with me through this problem, call me at 406-761-4436. Or if you don't want to deal with this, just give me an email at information@visitgreatfalls.org.
Thank you, Amber. It's been great. And listeners, until we see your bright, smiling, happy faces here in Great Falls, let us know that you're planning your trip by reaching out and engaging. We can't wait to have you here.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We're No Damn Experts is the recorded claims from Great Falls, Montana, covering what you need to know about this amazing damn town. Damn, that felt good.
On the next episode of We're No Damn Experts, Rebecca and Madi share with you the updates to the 2022 Glacier National Park reservation system. We're No Damn Experts is produced by Great Falls, Montana Tourism with original music by the best damn musician, Joel Corda.